person at it, on Saturday night.
Then I'll challenge accepted. But I'll just respond to that. We'd be willing to do that without the state police or the Woonsocket police, who, in the case of the Woonsocket police, created all sorts of chaos. Governor, if you want to go down. Governor McKee, in the past handful of years, the state has largely effortlessly built large-scale housing for everyone from COVID patients, and then in the case of the Army-Navy game, large-scale housing on a temporary basis for military people. Despite a long tradition of winter in New England, and at this point 3 or 4 years of conversation about the same subject with former Secretary Pryor, now the current interim secretary, you have communities who are fumbling literally at the last minute. Communities like East Providence and Woonsocket who are just starting to implement warming centers in the last 24 hours, despite 2 weeks' notice that this particular polar vortex was going to be an issue. Why? And at what point in time do we recognize that that housing in an emergency basis like this is a critical priority? I can tell you from personal experience that I've visited 5 to 6 homeless encampments a week. And we don't know where they are.
Tell me where they are, and I will go visit them. And if they're out tonight, let's do it tonight.
Governor, respectfully,
I'll take up the challenge. Tell me where they are. You and I can go out and see them tonight. Tell me where they are, where they're living outside in this weather. I'd be happy to do it. I would disagree with what you say. 2 years ago, we opened up the Cranston Street Armory because the hospital in Pawtucket had a maintenance issue. And then we opened up the Cranston Street Armory. I engaged, this is why I did it without an emergency declaration. I engaged the National Guard to actually be there on a regular basis over a few months to address that issue. And so yeah, we are responding to point-in-time situations if in fact we haven't put enough shelter beds in place. Right now, what we'll do, because of this issue that is coming front and center here, we are, out doing an inspection on our own to determine whether or not in fact we are. But we're not going to engage the National Guard unless we actually need it. And I've already done it once, and I would do it again if in fact it's determined that we need to do something.
Governor, what is the status of Charles Gate?
You've got to get the link.
Charles Gate?
Get the link.
What is the formal status currently of the Charles Gate acquisition? Is it being used for homeless, and is it in fact up for sale?
Well, first of all, I think that part of the solution for us to own and control real estate where there's shelter beds, I believe what I was told is that there's families that are using that, unhoused families, and we're pleased where we are right now because that area, that building has been designated for family use.
Terrific. You're safe, Fudge.
And Pat, you had a question. We're done with bridge questions.
Yeah.
We're gonna hold on. We're gonna let Director Alviti and Mr. Almond move aside. If you have questions that are separate from the bridge, we're going to do a gather here, and you can come over. Okay? Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, allegedly there are missing anchor bolts and speed bolts due to girder shifting.
So I'll take it right here. Sorry that. Did you, by the way, I'm still waiting for those encampments that you talked about. So
Then I'd be happy to talk about
I actually inspected 2 since we talked that had like 1 person at it, on Saturday night.
Then I'll challenge accepted. But I'll just respond to that. We'd be willing to do that without the state police or the Woonsocket police, who, in the case of the Woonsocket police, created all sorts of chaos. Governor, if you want to go down that road, I will tell you from personal experience, because I run a nonprofit that services homeless encampments. I'm out 2 or 3 days a week. You're not welcome there. And you're not welcome there because of the chaos that you bring to people's lives. There's nothing to be gained from disrupting homeless shelters. There's nothing, people die because you break up in homeless shelters. And I can go into all sorts of reasons why on another occasion, or I'd be happy to have the conversation with you personally.
Good, let's do it.
Okay, then let's talk about it right now. When you break up homeless encampments, here's what happens in reality. I know that it looks...
Are we off the bridge? It'd be good to be off the bridge.
I started with the bridge. You brought up
Why don't we do the bridge question first?
Look, if you have information where there's encampments, you should be telling me where they are. so
Governor,
that
no
we
one
can
wants to
respond.
tell you. You know why no one wants to tell you? Because the interdiction of law enforcement ends up killing people, and people die, and the
My
conditions
job
get
is to
worse.
keep
Homeless
people-
encampments are broken.
My job is to keep people safe.
No, you
that are out
don't.
in the
You
elements.
don't,
And
Governor.
if you know where their
I did,
people
actually.
are,
I didn't
then
bring this up.
basically you're not keeping them safe. My job is to keep them safe, and we certainly will supply the shelter.
Okay, my question, by the way, which
We're back to the bridge?
Yeah, about the bridge. That's why we started this.
Oh, okay.
All right? I've been asked by a number of people, most of whom, by the way, are in-state, they want to talk about missing anchor bolts and skew bolts due to girder shifting, I guess on span 16. Can you tell us about that? Maybe that's a question for Director Alvey.
No, I think it's